Now going to continue our journey and to go to the last presentation for now, looking at Ukraine and the experience from Ukraine. And it's my pleasure to welcome Natalія Алюшина, who will share with us the experience from her side to round up this first part of the event. Natalija, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor for me to speak here today on behalf of Ukraine on this very important and crucial aspect. Digitalization on the public administration sector is a global trend. Its benefits are obvious. There are transparency, zero tolerance for corruption, 24/7 availability. Digital interaction saves time, reduced the burden on public authorities. Automation increases productivity, enhances control, frees up management resources. This is the speed and sustainability of service delivery. At the same time, the introduction of digitalization of public services creates a zone of risks. Consider two dimensions of them. So the first lies in the fundamental differences between digital and human decision-making logics. This is a conditional confrontation between machines and people. Digital logic aims at standardization, rationalization, and quantitative judgments. The logic of public servant is determined by knowledge, experience, and understanding of human needs. It allows achieving results even in financially suboptimal conditions. Digital will never agree on the opinion of school or hospital in a territory where there is no optimal number of service consumers. A person evaluates a wider set of factors and is able to make non-linear decisions. The digitalization of public services is changing the management system, defining new functionality. Algorithms change the way decisions are made, affect the content and quality of services provided. Traditionally, citizens interacted with qualified professionals. Digitalization involves interaction with a digital interface and algorithms. In the first case, there was flexibility and variability of solutions. In this second, instructions and algorithms decide everything. It is necessary to study in depth the processes that influence the transformation of decisions from a human to a digital system. These processes may contain risks that distort the direction and nature of public services. The nature of software requires the execution of a set of instructions. Its logic is aimed at simplifying processes without looking for variability in solutions. In such conditions, the process of providing a service adapts to software, algorithms, and technology limitations. In this case, the social essence is lost. It is important that digital logic takes into account the human factor, since hardware is a logistics tool and a service generator is a public servant. To ensure decent standards of service delivery, two aspects of public administration need to be taken into account. The work of a public servant is more complex than a set of rules that can be transferred to an algorithm. It includes a network of interrelated practices. The practice of public administration is variable. Digital technology is linear. And the second dimension, yes, and the second dimension of the risk zone. These risks are relevant for Ukraine is a warring country. They may also affect the European Union in the case of an expansion of Russian barbarism. In the context of the destruction of the energy infrastructure and the blackout, the resource side of digitalization appears. These are the risks of cutting citizens off from digital services and losing the threads that bind by the stay of and people. The weak point of digitalization on these conditions of force majeure is the dependence of technical conditions. This is a threat to all state institutions. The war makes us rethink the tactics and development strategy. At the National Agency of Ukraine on Civil Service, we are bringing back some of the traditional tools that were previously swallowed up by digitalization. We are talking about courier mail, paper workflow, etc., etc. We consider them as resource tools that strengthen the public service in critical conditions. For security reasons, we have temporarily closed the unified job portal. It's a shame to understand that the war is throwing us back. We have been building a digital European public service and have made significant progress. Now, let's return to the methods of the recent past. But our goal is to avoid risks, to balance instruments and I think, and maintain the effectiveness of the public service. Let me emphasize that they maintain our strategic focus on the digitalization of the public service. Even in blackout conditions, we use working digital tools, understanding the associated risks. The reliability of the mechanism is tested under critical conditions. I note that the digital developments of the Ukrainian public service have a sufficient margin of safety. Let us illustrate this with an example of the operation of the Human Resources Management Information System, HRMS, on the 7th of October. 537 user authorizations were registered in the system. On the 10th of October, the day of mass attacks by Russian terrorists and their subsequent power outages, there were 128. On the 11th of October, the number of authorizations increased to 278. On the 12th of October, 395. On the 13th of October, 504. 3 days were enough to reach the normal level of using the system. At the same time, in the most difficult days, the stability of the public service was ensured with the help of the human factor. I note that people are the main capital of the Ukrainian public service. At the National Agency, we make the most of the professional flexibility inherent in our employees. This allows us to maintain the efficiency of the public service and the system of public administration. And we will return to full-scale digitalization after our victory. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attention. Take care of yourself, and glory to Ukraine, glory to heroes. Thank you.